welcome to today's video. Today I'm going to be talking about the Logic of English curriculum. I have been testing out Foundations Level A, and I think it's time for me to share my thoughts and give an update. If you're new here, my name is Ashley. I'm a homeschooling mom to 3 kids, and we've been homeschooling for 4 years. So this has probably been the most consistent year of not changing curriculum, maybe the most consistent like 1.5 to 2 years if we're talking about like not just school years, but like time. We found a couple great curriculums for my 2 oldest that we have not changed or needed to change at all. And then for my kindergartner, this is the first kid that I'm homeschooling in kindergarten. Both my daughters were in public school for kindergarten. So I didn't really know what curriculum to use. I started with a couple curriculums, didn't like it. I also felt like I was using too many resources, and my son is not the biggest fan of school. He'd rather be playing, he'd rather be moving. So I need curriculum that is to the point, quick, and we get it done. Also, I am a working mom, so I work full-time from home as well. So I can't have a curriculum that is too teacher heavy. Now, we're talking about Logic of English. If you're like me, I have looked at Logic of English many years. I've looked at it for my older daughters, I've looked at it for my son, and I would just get overwhelmed, to be honest. I would see all these books and teacher manuals and levels, and I was just like, I really don't understand how this works, and it looks extremely teacher intensive, and that is not for me. But it kept coming up in my mind, and I'm like, why do I feel drawn to this curriculum? I don't understand why. So in the midst of the last few months of chaos in our lives, we were moving, I knew I wanted to switch curriculum, I was taking a break with my son. On a whim, on Facebook Marketplace, I saw someone selling the first 2 like levels, Foundations A and Foundations B, because it is a quite pricey curriculum as well. So I don't want to drop a few $100s knowing if something may or may not work. But I found a great deal on Facebook Marketplace, and I was able to get it at a really good price. So I bought it, they shipped it in a box, and it stayed in a box for months. Well, here we are. I have opened the boxes, and we are about 8 lessons through Foundations A. And I can honestly say I am so happy I bought this curriculum, and I'm super excited to share my thoughts with you. By no means am I an expert in this curriculum. We are just doing it lesson by lesson. I'm learning as I go. I'm sure I'm not using it to its full extent. I'm sure I'm missing some points to it, but I wanted to share with you guys because a lot of you were asking about it, and even though there are videos about Logic of English, there's no videos I can find that specifically talk about using the online supplement, and I think that's the best part that I love, and I highly recommend getting the online supplement. So let's get in, let's talk about Logic of English. All right. Now bear with me, I'm only showing you the things that I've used so far. Again, we just finished lesson 8 in Foundations A. Foundations A is meant as the beginner level, so if your child has no phonetic structured curriculum, is learning beginning sounds, beginning reading, you would start with level A. It's meant for pre-K to kindergarten levels. I have a mix of hard copy items and digital PDF copies. They offer both on their website. So the first thing is my teacher's manual. This is hard copy. This was one of the things I bought used. This goes through every single lesson, how to teach it, different activities. There is the option of either teaching in manuscript or cursive, and then this teacher's guide gives you directions for both. So regardless if you're teaching cursive or manuscript, right here would be the directions for cursive, and here would be the directions for manuscript. I will say these lessons do overwhelm me, or at least they overwhelmed me when I very first opened to the first or second one. I was like, wow, that's a lot. But it's really not, especially if you're using the online portion. So this curriculum covers phonetic awareness, understanding the different sounds of the letters, and I love that it teaches, when it teaches letter A, your child's learning all 3 of letter A sounds right away. Where other curriculums that I've used only teach one sound and your child gets so fixated on that one sound, and then months later you're trying to add in other sounds. So I really like that. So it teaches that sounds, breaking words apart by sounds, understanding more of behind the why does a letter sound that way, especially in certain words. And then it does do a handwriting practice. So if you've been following my channel, you know we started with the Danielian handwriting method, which I do like, and I do feel like we may continue that on, but right now, because we're doing handwriting with Logic of English, I don't feel like it's necessary. In Foundations A, if you're starting this, your child is going back to the basics. They are learning every individual letter sound again, and they are learning how to write from the basics. I'm talking like strokes, like just a straight line, a curved line, to later then build into like actual letters. This is what I felt like we were missing. We were missing that base level of, I don't understand how to teach this, and my son doesn't have a good base level. So he understands how to write his letters, but he doesn't understand why he's writing the letters that way, if that makes sense. So it's almost like we went backwards, which I feel like is very rare in the homeschool community. And not to say anything that may get some unsubscribers, but everyone wants their kid to be the smartest and the brightest, and they want them to be advanced, whatever that means. But sometimes when we're trying to jump ahead or force our kid further, even if they may be comprehending some of it, sometimes going back and just really getting those basics at a good foundation level like this, I think is going to prepare them better in the future. And I'm using that example from math, watching my oldest, who's doing pre-algebra now. Those basic foundations of addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division are the basics of math. And if you are kind of pushing through those and not really getting your child good with the foundations, they're going to struggle later on. And that is really how I'm feeling with reading and writing. And so I'm okay going backwards and going slower and taking more time to really focus on these foundations. So enough of the spiel. So it walks you through, if you're using the teacher guide, it walks you through literally everything that needs to come out of your mouth. It is a scripted curriculum. There are tips. It tells you all the materials that you will need for the lesson. We have been completing an entire lesson, so like lesson 5, in one day. I do see some people that when I was like watching videos, they split it into 2. But I think because my son, we've gone through letter sounds, we've written letters, it's easier for me to just go through it with him. So a lot of this is like sounds and stuff. So it goes through everything. And then again, you're literally, it's step by step, word for word, walking you through the entire lesson. It has some fun activities, some books you could read, some tips, what cards you need, any activities. So it basically breaks it down for you. So you could just have this teacher's guide and teach your lessons and be fine. Now, a lot of you, when I was asking about Logic of English, said make sure you get the online supplement. And I just thought, honestly, it was just going to be like in addition to those teacher lessons, just extra video practice or things like that. I did not realize that the online supplement actually can replace me teaching. This is on their website as well. This is the online supplement planning guide. So this tells you in each lesson. So in lesson 1, it tells you the content, and it tells you, is it available in the teacher's manual or the online supplement? And so this lesson, for example, lesson 1, you can have it, you can teach it yourself from the teacher manual, or there's a video of the lesson. And so far, I have not had any issues finding or having the video lessons. I don't understand why they call the online portion a supplement when I feel like it is the full-blown curriculum being taught to your child. So I'm so glad I bought it. Those of you that told me to get the online, thank you so much. And I absolutely love having the video lessons. That's why I'm not like super familiar with the teacher guide, because I'm not teaching out of this. I use this for assessments or to find out what cards we need for the lesson, which I'll get into that in a minute. but I'm not teaching out of this lesson. I'm using the online supplement that is teaching the exact same lessons in such a better way than I can, to be honest. So there is the online planning guide. So just for every lesson, it kind of tells you where to find the lesson, if there's any worksheets that go along with it, and things like that. There is a student workbook that you can either buy hard copy, it would be a consumable workbook, or you can buy the PDF printable version, which is what I did. If you buy the printable PDF version, it's exactly the same. You just print it out. So this is from lesson 8, and so we would say this word and my son would tell me what letter is the beginning sound of the word. Very simple. Now here's what I will tell you. If you're using the online supplement, after they teach the lesson, they have an online game that is basically mimicking the worksheet. So there are days where we do not use the student worksheets. We just let my son play the games, or like in today's lesson, we did do the worksheet and the online game as well. So it's up to you. Another example is they show the letters themselves written in all different types of font. My son today in lesson 8 is learning the letter G. And so he's learning the 2 sounds of G. And he's learning all the different ways G can be like printed, how you would really see G printed. And we are doing the manuscript version. I love this. So my son is not fixated on one G. He knows all of these can mean G. Every time we add a new letter, we go back and practice. So we've already done A and D, and so you can see he has to match them all up. This is a handwriting practice worksheet. You do use a whiteboard to practice. They are very big on teaching the bottom line. It's called the baseline, the midline, and the top line. And where your letters should be, which I don't feel like any other handwriting curriculum I've used teaches that this early on. So we do focus a lot on where your letters should be placed on the lines. This handwriting practice example, there's like a super tiny line and it gets bigger. I let my son pick which size he wants to do. I don't make him do all of them. I do find it confusing to try to switch between different sizes, so he just picks one size and goes from there. So those are the student worksheets. So like I said, most of the time besides the handwriting, you don't even need these pages because they're playing a game on the online supplement right after the lesson that does this exact same thing. So you don't need this, if that makes sense. In Foundations A, we also have this supplemental book, Doodling Dragons. Again, if you have the online supplement, it reads this book, and it has songs that go with each one. So all that this book is the ABCs of sound. So every letter has one, the 3 sounds that A makes, some words with those examples, and then there's the song online. So again, you don't really need the hard copy of the book if you have the online supplement. My son does like me to have the book open though while he's listening to the song, just because he likes to look at the pictures and everything, but you don't have to have it. I wish there was a more clear understanding of the online supplement and everything that comes with it versus thinking it's just an additional supplement, but it's actually the curriculum itself. So that is the Doodly Dragons book. So every few lessons, especially like when we're learning a new letter and sound. So like today we learned G. So this was the page we were on today. G says G and J. So G, green, giant. So this makes much more sense to me logically trying to teach English to a child. And yeah, my son, especially because there was gingerbread men in there and we're all in Christmas right now. So that was that. These are the only thing that I really think that if you're using the online supplement that you would need to like buy hard copies of, even though I think you can buy the PDFs and print them out yourselves. So I have all of these in all the letters, and again I have the ones for the letters that we've been using. So I have D, A, and G, and then on the back it has the sound that letter makes in a word. So D only makes D, dad. A makes 3 sounds, A, E, A, and so I have those 3 sounds. And then same with G, G, and J. We use these a lot. And then you have your handwriting cards. These are my absolute favorite because they are textured. And so if you have a child that likes to touch things, they can actually feel this. And this helps them understand how to write it. And again, we have our 3 lines and where the letter should be on those 3 lines. And then it has, again, the sounds and then how they should remember to write. So start at the midline so they know where the midline is. Roll, swing, drop, swoop. All of those words were taught prior. So these are those kind of pre-writing skills that we learned in the first one. So this is a roll. So if I say roll, this is the shape my son should make. If I say swing, that is what that should look like. And so we practice these again over the first few lessons. A drop hook. So these are something that we pull out a lot. He's practicing his letter sounds that he's learning, beginning sounds of words. There's a lot of breaking up words. So on his lesson, the teacher will say the word sk, a, t, and like enunciate each sound, and then he'll have a picture. He'll have a bunch of pictures or images, and he has to match what word they're sounding out. So I really like that. I feel like he's comprehending this much more than other type of phonics programs that we've been using. So normally you go through that. You do some more practice. If it's a new letter, you're reading the dragon book and the song. You're practicing handwriting strokes and then letter practice. So all in all, I would say doing the entire lesson is taking us less than 30 minutes. We're not getting overwhelmed. I think it moves through the lessons pretty quickly. They're all broken up into very small segments, so it's all working really good. I do believe, so there's 40 lessons in Foundation A, and I do believe like lesson halfway through, like probably past lesson 20, there are readers that are in your student workbook, I think, that your child would put together and fold and start reading. There are spelling words as well. So we are still obviously in the very, very, very beginning. It's very hard to judge a curriculum this early on, but I do feel like I understand how they're teaching the concepts and it's working well for my son. The online supplement is absolutely amazing. I love that, and I highly recommend you get the online supplement if you're going to try this curriculum. As we get more into future lessons, I will film a lesson fully so you can watch exactly what it looks like with the online portion, the worksheets, and everything that goes along with it. So as we start working more into those lessons, I will share more. If you have questions, please leave those down below. But overall, really enjoying this curriculum. I'm glad this is what we switched to. I no longer feel the stress of trying to figure out language arts for my kindergartner. If there's any questions that I can answer in future videos about logic of English, please leave those down below. Thanks so much for watching and have a great day. Bye guys.